What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, happy Thursday. We are almost at Friday, which is very, very glorious. Guys, we are also almost at the end of the WNBA season. So you know what that means? College basketball is on the horizon. And we got some stuff to talk about when it comes to college basketball. So we're going to do some WNBA updates, college basketball feature, that, and a whole lot more on Quita in the morning.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Ready, set, go.
All right. So, guys, let's actually get started with the lone game that happened yesterday. And that was between the Golden State Valkyries and the Las Vegas Aces. Now, guys, normally we don't have a ton of games on Wednesday. Why that is, I'm not totally sure. It's usually like Tuesday is packed with games. Thursday and Friday are packed with games. And normally Wednesday is sort of like small features on Wednesday. But yesterday we did see a really good game between the Las Vegas Aces versus the Golden State Valkyries. Ultimately, the Aces were able to get the job done in Bohala. I think that's what they call it. And so shout out to the Las Vegas Aces. Here's the thing with the Aces yesterday. It was what we usually see. It was all about the former MVP, A'ja Wilson. She just continues to dominate and ball out of control. And that's always fun to see. She finished with 27 points in yesterday's game. And, that's just what she does. And also, A'ja Wilson's going to do two things. She's going to dominate in the post. And she is going to draw fouls. And she's going to make her free throws, too. She was 11 of 11 from the free throw line. Ultimately, this was a neck-and-neck battle sort of throughout. But ultimately, the Golden State Valkyries just could not get the job done. Again, guys, the Valkyries are dealing with some injuries. Kayla Thornton is still out for them, and they're just trying to figure out a way to make it work to get some wins. And ultimately, they came close, but the run in the fourth quarter was just not enough to take down the Las Vegas Aces. Good win for the Aces. They have been on the struggle bus of this whole season, and so we'll see. We'll see if they're going to be able to make some stuff happen for this late push into the playoffs and beyond. Jasper says Valkyries' playoff hopes are dipping. Yeah, which is why I said last year. Or not last year. That's why I said last week that I wasn't buying the Valkyries going to the playoffs because of just the struggles that they're going to have without having Kayla Thornton on the floor. Like, that's a big loss. That's a huge loss, actually. And so, yeah, that's something to note. In terms of the Golden State Valkyries, Janelle Salon, Tiff Hayes, they lead the charge for the team, 13 and 14 points apiece. And the Aces just get the job done, right? Jewel Lloyd comes off the bench, gives a pretty good performance, 14 points for her off the bench. And the Aces rock and roll. The Aces rock and roll. Yes, Kayla Thornton was the key. She was the key, and, that's where we are. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. That's the game that happened yesterday. Today we have a boatload of games to watch, including a game that I will be at. We have, I don't know why Thursday usually just has a lot of games, but later today we will see. Let me just pull this up. Later today we'll see the Atlanta Dream versus the Chicago Sky in Chicago. We'll see the Connecticut Sun versus LA in LA. And we'll see Indiana versus Phoenix in Phoenix. All right, those are the games that are happening later today. And I will be at the Chicago Sky game. So if y'all are there, hit me up. Yep, Shamika, I will be there. I will be there. I will be there. Golden Life of Fortune. Quita, You are always pretty fair, but I noticed you did not include Indiana Fever with the buy, sell, or trade activity yesterday. Are you going to, if you're going to analyze, you gotta at least be fair. Golden life. I don't know if you realize this, but I forgot. It is possible for someone to forget to include something without being considered not being fair. I would hold if I'm the Indiana Fever. I posted a comment later yesterday once I realized that I did not include the Indiana Fever. It's mainly because how I create my graphics, I copy the last graphic and then change the like what's on the graphic, and I copied over the Indiana Fever one. Didn't realize it, and then I'm just going down the list. Didn't realize it. So, no, I have nothing against the Indiana Fever. I just forgot. And it is what it is. All right. Okay. I think people are trying to find a way to be upset about something, and there can't be a good faith reason about anything, and you know that's how it is. Whatever. Okay. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's move on. And I want to talk about something that I am super, super excited about, and that is the return of college basketball, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Where is my graphic? There we go. College basketball is returning. OMG. I am so happy about this. Guys, once the WNBA season's over, we don't have much time to wait until college basketball starts. So in preparation to that, I'm going to start a couple times a week. I am trying to make sure that we do at least one college segment about, I would say maybe 2 or 3 times a week as we lead up to the college basketball season, because, guys, it's going to be a fun time. So I figured might as well, let's get started with the transfer portal, because a couple months ago, y'all, I was going crazy with the transfer portal updates. It was like update. So many updates to talk about when it comes to the transfer portal. And since the WNBA season started, or really got into full gear, we started to get few and far between updates on what was happening in the transfer portal. And so I figured this would be a good time for us to go through the transfer portal one more time and to kind of update you all on what's happening. Update you all on what's happening in the college basketball sphere, because, guys, I for one am very jazzed up about what's going to happen with college basketball. This will be, in my opinion, one of the greatest college basketball seasons that we have seen to date, and it's about to be a fun time. So a couple updates for you all, just so you all are aware. When it comes to the transfer portal, every year we have a whole bunch of players enter the transfer portal, and every year the number just keeps building and building and building. This past offseason, we saw 1,530 people enter the transfer portal for women's basketball. So 1,530 women's basketball players have entered the transfer portal. Of that, not everybody finds a team. This is sort of like a thing where you say, you know what, former employer, former school, I'm done. I want to explore my situation elsewhere. I want to see what's going on with the college basketball landscape. I think I may have better prospects somewhere else. And so they enter the transfer portal in hopes to get picked up. But the thing you all need to know is that not everyone gets picked up. It's very, very unfortunate. But sometimes you enter the transfer portal, you put your name out in the ring, and sometimes everybody else says, actually, never mind. So there are some players who enter the transfer portal that still do not have a team. Okay, so 1,530 players entered the portal, and of that, we saw 1,153 actually find a team. All right, so not everybody has found a team. Some players, if they don't get a team, sometimes they just waste away in the ether, right? We don't hear about them again when it comes to college basketball. Sometimes players will withdraw their name from the portal. 63 players withdrew their name from the portal, and they're going back to their old team. They're like, hey, actually, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to leave you. I want to stay on this team. Please let me come back. It's one of those things where it's like you are putting your fate in everyone else's hands. And that could be a disappointing thing. W. Bazil says it right. You go into the portal, be prepared to be disappointed, because you may think you're hot stuff, but there's 1,000 other girls who are in the transfer portal too. And so you're working against a lot of factors. All right? You're working against a whole lot when it comes to the transfer portal. If you are entering in there, and especially if you're not like sort of one of the top players, right? You're going to struggle to find a team. We've seen a boatload of updates, and I just wanted to put the bigger ones in one video. So I just want to go through real quick the 3 teams that I featured on the graphic for this stream. I want to talk about Yukon, South Carolina, LSU. Now, are there more teams than Yukon, South Carolina, LSU? Yes, there are. Will we see other teams make huge runs in the tournament? Yes. Will other teams be really fun to watch? Yes. But I have to start somewhere. So no, this is not a Quita hates UCLA. Quita hates Notre Dame because she refused to talk about them. I'm starting from somewhere. All right. And so we're going to move on from here. Okay. I just want to put that out there for the people who are always trying to figure out some bad faith way to make a comment about whatever. Okay. First up, I do want us to take a deeper look into these 3 programs. Again, Yukon, LSU, and South Carolina. First up, I do want to talk about Yukon and how Yukon got a little bit deeper with some of their selection. So, Kaden Samuels, she entered the transfer portal. She barely played last year. She made the right decision to transfer out because her prospects of getting significant playing time was just not happening. So she made the decision to go over to NC State. Good decision for her. I do think she's going to get significantly more playing time, and I think she should be happy with her decision. Okay. All right. I think she should be happy because she was not going to play, not really, for Yukon this season. So Kaden Samuels is out. Who comes into the transfer portal? Well, we have Kaylee Heckel from USC. Last year she was a freshman and she was really good. I actually was impressed with Kaylee Heckel. She's going to get a significant amount of playing time, I would assume, with this Yukon team. Because remember, you guys, Yukon, they lost Paige Beckers, and that's a huge loss for the team, and it's going to be about figuring out how the guard play is structured for Yukon, and I think Kaylee Heckel is going to get a quite a bit of minutes coming off the bench for Yukon. Another huge player that Yukon got was Sarah Williams, guys. There was an all-out battle for Sarah Williams to see who was going to pick her up. It seemed like the top 2 dogs were LSU and Yukon, and ultimately Yukon was able to seal the deal and get Sarah Williams. Sarah Williams, guys, is a rock star player. She played at Wisconsin last year. She's fantastic, and I'm talking about 6'4". Okay, I'm talking about close to 20 points a game for her. Almost a double-double is what Sarah Williams was getting last year, right? Not only is she a really good scorer, she's also a really good defender as well. And that's something that Gino Auriemma is going to love. So here's the thing, guys. You got the two Sarahs for Yukon. That's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch. Like, I'm very much curious to see who exactly is in the starting lineup for Yukon, because I think Gino can go several different ways with that. Like, I think he could end up having like a big lineup in the starting lineup. Like, I could see it where we have Janet L. Alfie at the 5, Sarah Williams at the 4, maybe Sarah Strong at the 3. I'm just saying, like, I would be interested to see something like that. I think that'd be really, really fun to see. And then of course you got AZ, and then maybe KK as the 1. All there is to say is that this is going to be insane. Yukon is going to be a team to watch because Sarah Williams does change a lot. She really does change a lot for Yukon. We thought Yukon was really good this past year. I'm interested to see what continues to happen from here. Tulip says, I don't see that. Janet will be a backup. It depends. It depends on who they're going against, because Janet Alfie, she has a lot of potential, and at times she did start last year. I'm curious to see. Like, she could come off the bench, but I also would love to see that lineup of Sarah Strong at the 3, because I think Sarah Strong can actually play the 3 really well. Like, I have no doubt that Sarah Strong could be a really good 3, right? She doesn't have to be a post player, right? That's how good of a all around versatile player Sarah Strong is. Will she likely play the 4? Yes. Will she exclusively play the 4? I don't think so. Marie says, I hope Yukon stays healthy this season. Yeah, it's all about health. It is all about health, guys. We'll see what they're able to do. It would really be cool to see them at full strength. But hey, here's the deal: the injury bug hits everybody, and unfortunately, you can't stop it. Unfortunately, you cannot stop it. While we're on the Yukon train, let's take a look at Yukon's non-conference schedule. So a couple of big-ish matchups for Yukon coming into their non-conference season. One of the things that I find amazing about Yukon is that if you take a look at their schedule. Take a look at their non-conference schedule and look at their away games. So their away games are the ones that are like the faded grayish color. Let's look at that and see that Yukon is not really going to be in hostile territory, meaning they're playing in a away arena very often, right? So Yukon has several away games, but those away games are not really at the place where they're going against. What am I trying to say? Here's the thing. Here's what I'm trying to say. So, October the 13th is when Yukon season starts. Technically, it's listed as an away exhibition game, but it's in Unkinsville, Connecticut. So, not very far, right? We also have another away game on November the 4th. Against Louisville. That game's not happening in Louisville. That game is happening in Germany. Yes, in Germany. Yukon will play Louisville in Germany on November the 4th. Right? Then on November the 21st, Yukon plays away against Michigan, but it's not really away. It's in neutral territory. It's in Connecticut, in Unkinsville. Yeah, neutral sites. Yep. Then they play against Utah in Unkinsville as well. Then the lone real away game for Yukon is going to be on December the 3rd against South Florida in Florida. Right? And then they play Iowa on December the 20th. That one's a neutral site game as well in Brooklyn, New York. So basically, Yukon, they're playing on neutral sites for all of almost all of their non-conference games. And so that's something to note. When I was looking at this, I thought that was hilarious. I was like, wait, what? These are not even real away games. They're neutral site games. All right. And so I thought that was kind of fun. I saw somebody asked about who's going to play point for Yukon. I think KK Arnold is going to be the point guard. I think she's going to be the starting point guard for this team. Now, do we know that 100% for sure? No. However, I think it's going to be KK. I think it's going to be KK at the 1, AZ at the 2. I would love to see Sarah Strong at the 3. I think that'd be fun. At least for a little bit. To see that happen. Oh yeah, against USC. That one is at USC on December the 13th. All right, there's some talk in the chats about Yukon being too good for the Big East. I mean, they are, but here's the thing. When it comes to conferences, football determines everything. All right? And football is part of the reason why Yukon is in the Big East. So, yeah. Shamika says they will go undefeated in non-conference play. Probably. I'd be shocked if they lose. Because again, if you look at the teams they're going against, right? Tennessee, we'll give them some competition, but I don't see Tennessee beating Yukon the way they are currently structured. USC, if Juju was not hurt, then yeah, sure. I think they could have a chance of beating Yukon. However, they're not. So no. Right? Ohio State, same thing. It's gonna be smooth sailing for Yukon, in my opinion, assuming everybody stays healthy. When it comes to Yukon, that's the biggest thing. It's health is everything when it comes to Yukon, and we'll see ultimately what they're able to do on that front. LL Kune says Yukon may go undefeated. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, at all. At all. The Dalfa says SEC strongest women's basketball conference. Want to see more matches against them for Yukon. I mean, yeah, but here's something to keep in mind. Here's something to keep in mind that I think actually more and more coaches are thinking about. They're considering NCAA tournament placement when they're scheduling these games. We did see in the past, we have seen like teams like Maryland and others consistently have really, really tough schedules against top competition, especially in their non-conference play schedule, right? Which is the thing that they can control. You can't control your conference schedules, not really, because, you know, there's rules around that about who you're playing and like how many times and whether that's home or away and whatnot. So the real flexibility you have is your non-conference schedule. And we've seen other teams pick really, really hard non-conference schedules. And we have seen that hurt teams where they lose several games in a year. Yes. Are they really good losses against really good teams? Yes. But still, overall, it does kind of hurt them when it comes to the NCAA tournament time and when they're ranking teams and whatnot. And so, yeah, don't be surprised to see teams playing very, very weak teams in non-conference play, because they don't want a chance to have a loss on their books before they head into their conference schedule. So, like, that's something to note. That is something to note, guys. All right, so we already talked about Yukon. Now, is there anything else left to talk about Yukon? Or otherwise, we are going to move on to South Carolina. All right, anything else you all want to say. Yeah, they're looking forward to the tournament. Yep. Shamika says, I don't like that it hurts them. Strength of schedule should matter. It should matter. And supposedly, the NCAA committee, they take strength of schedule into consideration. However, I think most teams are going to take their chances. Just make sure you don't lose against one of these weak teams. If you do, you're screwed. All right. Okay. Molly says that Yukon's going to be the champion again. Okay. All right. Tulip is asking who plays the 3. I think a lot of players can play the 3. I think it's 100% up for grabs for Yukon. They got a lot of. I think the 1 for sure is KK. 2 for sure is AZ. Once you get past that, again, as I said earlier, I could see Sarah doing that. I could see that happening, right? I could see Ashton Shade playing that small forward role, right? I could see that happening. And so yeah. And also Ali Zeeble, like I could see her playing the small forward position as well. All right. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the next, which is South Carolina. So South Carolina actually made quite a bit of moves. Well, moving out and moving in. So South Carolina, they lost. They did not win the championship last year, which they had a really good chance to. But they're going to try to make it happen this upcoming year, and they have added in some talent, and they've lost some talent. So who did they lose? Who did they lose? Well, you lose Sakima Walker. Sakima Walker is gone. She barely played. She was a transfer, 2 seasons ago into South Carolina. And she just didn't really get any playing minutes. Like, it's just the problem with South Carolina is that team, they just had so much talent that, like, you just got buried on the roster. And that's what Sakima did. She got buried in the roster. She barely played. And so she's like, you know what? I believe this is going to be her last year in college. She's like, hey, I got to go somewhere where I'm actually going to play. And she has chosen Cal. So Sakima Walker is gone. She is headed over to Cal. And we'll see what she is able to do there. For South Carolina, they also, in a surprise move, huge surprise to me, they lost their most electrifying player on the court, and her name is Mylasia Fulwiley. Mylasia Fulwiley came off the bench for South Carolina, but like hands down, she's a starter on any other team, even last year as a sophomore, even the year before as a freshman. Mylasia Fulwiley is basically an Energizer Bunny. Like, she just goes and goes and goes. She can get to the basket at will. She's very, very flashy with her passes, with her shot selection. Like, she's just a fun player to watch. She made the decision to leave South Carolina and actually go over to their SEC rival. Well, is it a rival now? I guess kind of. In LSU. Now, guys, this is going to be a wild time for LSU. They got a huge talent in Mylasia Fulwiley, and this is a huge loss for South Carolina because we know how many times have we seen it last year where the starters weren't really doing anything. Mylasia Fulwiley comes in the game, and all of a sudden, boom, spark plug. But I guess she didn't want to come off the bench anymore, and she wanted to have more of a prominent role on the team, and now she is gone over to LSU. And we'll see what she can do there. Probably we'll see what she can do. All right, now who comes in for South Carolina? Well, a lot of good talent, okay? First of all, you have Tanaya Latson, one of the best scorers in college basketball last season. Tania Latson, someone who can get to her spot anywhere on the court, pull up, off the dribble, get into the basket, shooting threes, whatever you need. Tania Latson can do it. All right. Last season, she averaged 25 points per game, 4.6 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists per game, and 2.2 steals per game. She is a flat out amazing player. She played at Florida State, and she's like, hey, you know what? I'm too good to be stuck at Florida State. Not that Florida State is bad in terms of the market, in terms of the appeal that Florida State has. She didn't get that much attention, even though she was leading the league, leading all of college basketball in scoring. She didn't get the attention because she was at South Florida. So now her going to South Carolina is going to increase her prospects when it comes to awards, when it comes to NIL, all that good deal, because Tania Latson is freaking amazing. Okay, so that's a huge get for South Carolina, getting a top-notch player like Tania Latson. But also, they didn't stop there. So yes, they got a huge, fantastic guard that can score. One of the things that we've seen South Carolina struggle with at times has been scoring. At times it's been like, okay, well, can you just give the ball to somebody and just find a bucket? Just find a bucket somewhere. And that's what Tania Latson can do. She can just give her the ball. She'll dominate. Okay. And so I'm very, very much interested to see what happens with Tania Latson on this team and how she can make some stuff happen. But yeah, she is for sure a baller. All right. Now you also get Medina Akat as well. Medina is a 6'6" post player from Mississippi State. She is someone who has a lot of potential, a lot of raw potential that I'm actually very, very interested to see how Dawn Staley and her coaching staff develop Medina, because yeah, she has a lot of really, really raw talent, and we all know how South Carolina, their specialty, in a lot of ways, their specialty is the bigs. Sure, do you have guards that make it to the WNBA? Sure. But their specialty, I'm talking Asia Wilson, ding, 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 the most important one, right? Aaliyah Boston, right? Camila Cardoso, right? There's so many post players. Elena Coates, right? There's so many post players that we've seen come through South Carolina, and it's pretty cool to see Medina go there, and we'll see ultimately what she's going to be able to do to just kind of grow her game and turn into even more of a versatile post player, which is exactly what she needs to do to have a big career in the WNBA. Because what we have seen in the WNBA, you can't just be big for big sakes, right? You have to be able to be versatile, and I think she can learn some of that versatility with South Carolina. Okay. Tisha says that's probably the real reason Sarah Strong went to Yukon. She knew she would get the playing time. Well, yeah. I'm sure that's a factor for players. I'm sure that's a factor. Marie says, is Watkins quitting basketball? No, she is not. Yeah. She is not. Guys, if you all do not know, Ashton Watkins actually had a ACL tear during the year. And so she's out. She is not going to return to play next season. She's going to return to basketball in 2026, 2027. All right. So no, she is not quitting basketball. She's not quitting South Carolina. Right. She is rehabbing, and she'll be back next year, which, I mean, The best case scenario was for her to try to be back at the end of this upcoming college season, and that's why do that? You might as well just wait a full year, which is similar to what I think Juju is going to do as well, but we're waiting on an official announcement from Juju as if she's going to actually miss the full season, okay? But if you all are curious to know more about Ashton Watkins, she actually wrote a post a while ago, I think it was last month on Instagram, about her decision to sit out next season. She says, as most of you know, this past year has been a roller coaster for me. I usually like to keep my personal life private, but every time I step out in the community, I realize I'm not alone in this journey. So many of you have shown me love and encouragement, and because of that, I feel like I owe you a little insight into what's been going on. I also want the younger ones who look up to me to know that tough times do not define you. They make you stronger. With everything that's happened this year, I'm going to take some time off and focus on myself, my community, my faith, and my family so that I can grow as an individual and attempt to master this journey of life. I'm so grateful for my coaches, the USC medical team, my teammates, and everyone who supported me along the way. For now, I'll be cheering on my team and working hard to come back even stronger in the 2026-2027 season. So that is what Ashton Watkins posted on Instagram. She posted that about towards the end of July. All right. So yeah, she's coming back. She's coming back. She's not going to play next season, but she will be back in 2026. Okay. All right. Let's see what y'all have to say in the comment section. El Kune says Chicago should call Zaya Cook. I think she has talent. She just needs to find her fit. Honestly, no. I wouldn't suggest that. Because no. I don't think she gives this guy more than what Uzun is bringing. So yeah. K Jack says, can players make that decision when it's not an injury? You mean like sitting out? I don't know actually. I mean, because the only players I really see sit out is players who have an injury. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, in theory, probably, but, then their spot might get taken away if it's just them just wanting to take a year off. So, yeah. All right. Also, guys, we have not gotten the full schedule for South Carolina just yet. But we did get their SEC schedule, so we could take a look at that real quick. This is the SEC schedule for South Carolina. The game I am most looking forward to, the game that I am going to try my best to be at, is South Carolina versus LSU. To me, that's going to be a very, very fun game to watch. A game that I, at this point, fully expect South Carolina to win. But it should be fun nonetheless. That game is happening on February the 14th. I'm going to try my best to be at that game. I'm going to try my best, okay? I'm going to make my way down south as I watch that game. I think that's going to be a really fun game. So we don't have the non-conference schedule just yet, or at least I haven't seen it. I've not seen the non-conference schedule for South Carolina, but they did release their SEC tournament schedule. Or not tournament, SEC regular season schedule. And so, the games I'm most looking forward to is South Carolina versus Texas on January the 15th. I'm also looking forward to South Carolina versus Ole Miss on February the 22nd. And South Carolina versus Tennessee on February the 8th. Those are going to be the big games to watch, okay? All right? They should be really, really fun to watch. And all those games are at home for South Carolina. But some of the away games that'll be really fun as well will be on January the 22nd versus Oklahoma. And then you got February the 14th against LSU. I'm curious about the February the 19th game against Alabama. Alabama was really good last year. I really like Alabama. I really like their coach. I think Alabama has potential to eventually evolve into a real SEC powerhouse when it comes to women's basketball. And so I can't wait for the regular season to start so I can watch Alabama to see how they can play. Because last year, a huge part of why they were so good was because of Sarah Ashley Barker, and we all know she's in the WNBA right now. And so it's a huge question mark of what's next for Alabama. And so I might even do a separate video specific about Alabama, because that's one of those teams that I'm very curious about. Very curious about Alabama, very curious about Ole Miss. Because Ole Miss brought in a whole bunch of players. We'll in another stream we'll talk about Ole Miss as well. I'm very, very interested. We all know that Texas is going to be very good. Tennessee is a question mark. I would say huge, huge question mark. That's for sure. But we'll see. Miracle, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, Quita, come to Texas Longhorn women's basketball game. I would love to. Here's the thing. I've told my parents this. I'm like, hey, one day I want to be able to have the money where I can go to these games, as a thing, where I can go to the big schools. I want to go to Yukon, to actually go to stores and actually watch the game, right? I want to go to South Carolina to watch a game, right? I want to go to North Carolina. I want to go to Duke, right? I want to go to LSU. I want to go to Texas. I want to go to Ole Miss. I want to go to USC, right? Those are some of the home arenas I want to go to. So at some point, and I want to go to Tennessee. I need to go to a Tennessee home game. At some point, I want to do that. Whether or not that's going to be next year or this upcoming season, I don't know about that, because again, travel is expensive. Travel is expensive, okay? Which is unfortunate. But hey, who knows? Who knows where this channel will be? Maybe I'll be able to swing it. But as of right now, probably not. As of right now, the only away college game I'm actually probably going to be able to make will be the LSU versus South Carolina. But if I could fit it in my budget, sure, I would love to go to other ones. I would love to. All right, speaking of LSU, let's actually move on to talk about LSU. Now, here's the deal, guys. There were so many players who left LSU, I had to just have one graphic for them. One graphic. Just for the players who are out at LSU. So many players. So many players, guys. Okay, so let's go down a long list of all the players who left LSU. So we got Amani Bartlett. She barely played. Not a big deal. She's going to Houston. We got Lasir Poa, who, has had some good runs with this LSU team, but overall, not the greatest. But was somebody who you could count on defensively to kind of do some stuff. But Lasir Poa is gone. She is going to Arizona State. We also have your big post player that was at one point seen as the future of the LSU Tigers, in Aaliyah Del Rosario. She has left. She is going to Vanderbilt. Then we got Miracle Shepherd, who just had a 1-year loaner at LSU. She is gone and going to Cal. We also have Jersey Wolfenbarger, who has left to go to Tennessee. And then we have Samaya Smith, which was kind of a surprise to me. I really like Samaya on this LSU team. Samaya was fantastic, truly. Injuries did derail her for quite a bit, but yeah. So Samaya Smith is a big loss for this LSU team. She is going to Virginia. So in general, yes, a lot of players left. I don't think they really moved the needle like that besides Samaya Smith. Big loss for LSU. Big loss. Now, who did LSU gain in the transfer portal? Well, they gained 3 players. They gained Mylasia Fulwiley, which again, I've already talked about her. She's fantastic. I mean, dog. She's going to start for this team, and can you imagine Malaysia and Flage running the court together? I think that's going to be really, really, really fun. Really, really fun basketball for LSU, at least on the guard perspective side, with the inclusion of Malaysia Fulwale. We also have Amaya Joyner, who has joined this team as well. She's a 6'2" forward out of East Carolina. And she was really good at East Carolina. To be truly transparent, I didn't watch East Carolina. So all I've seen is highlights and clips of Amaya Joyner. So I'm really interested to ultimately see her take the court and see what she can do on that front. We also had Kate Koval, who entered the transfer portal as well. This was a shock to me because I actually really like Kate on Notre Dame. I really, really like Kate on Notre Dame. But ultimately, she made the decision to leave, and now she is at LSU. She's a big post player, right? 6'5". She can score in the post. She was effective last year for Notre Dame. And she made the move to go to LSU. Good decision, especially considering the fact that that LSU no longer has Samaya Smith and Aaliyah Del Rosario. They needed some more post presence, and they got one in Kate Koval. I'm interested to see ultimately how she plays in the SEC. But in terms of her play at Notre Dame, I thought she played well. And again, guys, she's just a freshman, so she does have 3 more years of eligibility. So we'll see what happens on that front. Henry says LSU would play fast and furious. Yes. But I am worried about the posts for LSU. And maybe in the next one, we'll go down the actual roster. I just wanted to focus on the transfer portal today. But maybe in the future, we'll talk about the actual rosters of it all. Because I don't know. I think there's some cause for concern when it comes to the post for LSU. Guard play, I think, is actually fine. But post play is going to be hard. It's going to be very, very hard. Very, very hard to see them really get much. Because yes, Kate Koval, I thought she played well for Notre Dame. But again, guys, she wasn't a starter. Right? She didn't play a ton of minutes, right? And so it's going to be a very different thing to actually possibly end up being in the starting lineup and possibly end up playing a lot of minutes, way more minutes than you did at Notre Dame. So yes, it's going to be interesting for the post play. It's going to be very, very interesting for LSU. But from a guard perspective, I think guard-wise, they're good. They're good. Right? Well, she's going into her sophomore year, but last year she was a freshman. Yeah. Last year she was a freshman. So that's what I'm talking about. As a freshman, I thought she played well. But yeah, she is coming into her sophomore year. So, yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at the LSU schedule. Let's take a look at that. So for LSU, some of the games that I am very much looking forward to is, none of the, I would say none of the non-conference games really. Because, cupcake schedule, easy schedule. I mean, that's just how teams are rolling. I already talked about that with Yukon. You're going to play easier teams. The one tough game I see in non-conference play is going to be on December the 4th as LSU takes on Duke. I think that's going to be a very, very fun game. That's an ACC SEC challenge game. That's going to be very fun. Very, very fun to see. Ultimately, I do think that LSU probably has the nod, but I'd say this: Duke is a very good defensive team, and we'll see what happens. Okay, the other games that are going to be really good to watch when it comes to LSU will be on January the 11th as LSU takes on Texas. We'll also see, again, as I talked about earlier, on February the 14th, we'll see LSU play South Carolina at LSU. And so that's going to be really, really fun to see. We'll also be interested in watching LSU versus Texas on February the 5th, as well as LSU versus Oklahoma on January the 18th. Okay. Oh, sorry. I have the schedule too small. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I will try to, next time I'll try to make it bigger. All right. Sorry about that. Anyway, here, let me, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Y'all should hopefully see it better. All right. Full screen with the schedule. All right. So this is the conference schedule as well as the non-conference schedule. Okay. All right, I'll leave it up for a couple of more seconds. So anyway, I already talked about the games that I'm definitely watching, and so we'll see what happens this season for LSU. Again, from a guard perspective, they have a lot of guards. From a post perspective, they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out for sure. They got to figure it out. Okay. All right. Well, guys, that's the stream. That's the stream. That's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to just talk about what's going on when it comes to the transfer portal. We're going to get into more teams as time goes on. Again, guys, as I said earlier, as we get closer to women's college basketball, I will spend more and more time letting you all know who's on the various teams, what I expect to happen, and yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, anyway, that's it. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. If y'all could, make sure to hit that like button. It really does help the channel out a whole lot. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. I make content all about women's basketball. So if that is your thing, make sure to rock out with me. All right. So, anyway, that's it. Thank y'all. And let me know in the comments if y'all, what teams y'all want to hear about when it comes to college, because there's a lot of college teams. What teams are y'all most interested in? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Marie, I still have that planned, a stream about Unrivaled and the NIL deals that they signed and what's going on the future of Unrivaled. Yes, that is still a thing that I need to do. Okay? So, anyway. Thank y'all. And I will see y'all in the next one. Hit that like, y'all. Hit that like. All right, see y'all next one. Bye-bye.
Are you ready?
Ready, set, go.